Shalom, shalom, everybody. Welcome to the discussion part of our Torah portion, Toledot. And Mauricio, do you have something you'd like to share about what we heard today?
Yes, well, i- that this portion is very deep. I mean, because the Torah is telling us that there's no perfect families, and also um, they have some problems, but at the end, the problem is communication about everyone there. Um, Communication because from one side, well, it Isaac in Rivka, well, the Torah doesn't say clearly that she told to Isaac, for example, there is a struggling in my womb. Right now they are fighting each other. I feel there is like two different spirits in my kids. Okay. Then also there is a favoritism between Rivka for Jacob and from Esau from Isaac. And the problem of having bad communication at family, well, there's a lot of mistakes. You know, at the end, I believe that um, Isaac knew the potential that Esau had, honestly. That's probably it says that he loved Esau because he could see beyond his eyes, oh, my son, there is a lot of potential in him if he just is close to God. The problem of Esau is that, as the rabbi mentioned, everything is fast right now. You go to a supermarket, you pay quick, then you go to a restaurant, it's a fast food. So we want immediately rewards, okay? And that is the essence of Esau, okay? That's why he couldn't see beyond this moment, okay? He's looking just to the present for the immediately yeah, how do you say that pleasure,
Immediate gratification.
gratification, yes. So in that is the problem of Esau. Esau he was hungry, so then he had the opportunity to eat something, and he there thought, oh, I would like to have this in the future. No, uh, and that's something. On the other hand, also we can see Jacob that they made an agreement between Esau and Jacob, but they never tell to their parents, oh, we deal this agreement. Okay. He sold me. Okay. And it's a very fair situation. So at the end, that is something that the probably today is attacking our societies and destroying our world. The bad communication between persons who live together. Okay. And probably that's, it's is a little bit meaning of the uh, wells that he opened is Isaac. Okay. He says that he started to dig different wells at Canaan. And this is something very interesting because the wells, the only thing and the purpose that a well has is to dig something that is already there, which is water. Okay. That means to have an effort, okay, extra effort to do something. But but the purpose of the well is not just to cave something. No, the purpose is to get water.
Right.
The water is there. So at the end, there is something which is really interesting, that there are uh, three different wells, but at the last he could open the which is Beersheba. So that is something that also teach us something, that probably in our lives, well, sometimes we need to dig, okay, to get out water, okay, and it's not an easy uh, task, okay. Sometimes it's very difficult, okay. Sometimes we have fear, sometimes we have complaining with another person, but then suddenly God opened the right well in our lives. So it's just that I thinking about all these ideas, and it's about sometimes communicate is like you are digging in your life with your family, okay. And then the fruits of digging to effort, not looking for long short term pleasure, is is at the end to get water for all of us. And that's probably why Malachi, which is an interesting name. Malachi is a malach, okay, someone who is sent to give a message from God. Then he's talking about the two different kids, and he's claiming to Jacob to behave as Israel, as Jacob, because it seems that he's saying, okay, you are looking uh, to the priest. You look like, you are doing very mechanical all the things, okay, all the service, but uh, there is no teaching, there is nothing else in just you are doing something mechanical, okay.
No heart.
No heart, yes, not love for persons, okay. I want to fulfill my position, but I don't want to give extra effort, okay. And so God is saying, okay, as Jacob honored his father in some way, okay, where is my honor? That is why he's saying, you are like Edom, okay. And that is very interesting, because it's like to Esau says about the hands of Esau, okay. And to Jacob, it says more his fragrance, okay, his voice, okay. Um, so, that is something that I would like to give. And also, uh, there is something uh, else that Rabbi just said, that you know in the families, okay, he said that there is a question, and made me think honestly, who is uh, uh, your son preferido? In Spanish, I translate
Preferred
Your
your favorite.
favorite.
your favorite son, okay. And that is something that honestly made me think, because you know always that you love everyone, but always there is someone who really you have more
Connection.
yeah, connection. you are more close to them. So how can I deal, I thought, about not to and that's communication. How can I act in order or behave in order nobody feels that he is the preferred one, okay? And that is wisdom, honestly. Eh, because I believe that uh, Esau, he used to be a very quiet child, a mom's child, etc. So he saw in Esau some characteristics that he didn't have. Okay, okay. For example, a strong man. Okay, he's very good hunter. I'm not. So that is probably something that he dreamed of. Okay, and he saw that his son Esau. And on the other hand, Rivka obviously looked at Jacob, someone probably she wanted to have in her family. Remember that she left very young her family, okay? And who were their families? Laban and Betuel, okay? One is a deceiver, the other one is nobody. So probably she felt something that she didn't have. Okay, someone to talk, someone to feel very nice, and someone who can share feelings, things like that. And that's okay. Uh, so that is a really challenge to parents today. How can we deal with that? Okay, because every son or daughter is completely different. Okay, so that is something that made me think honestly.
With Rivka, one of the things that I saw is very similar to me, very strong, but she didn't speak, she didn't have a father to speak to put things through, to talk, get wisdom from. There was no communication, it seems, in her home. And I saw the same thing in my home. Rarely did I sit down and have a conversation with my parents, with my father. And then later on, when I was married, I was used to not communicating with them. So I didn't communicate with my husband, or I tried, but it just didn't work. Sometimes you don't have the experience that you need from your family, and that bad habit gets passed on into the next generation. And the thing that I saw here that really struck me this time is about how we need to give ourselves time. Things didn't happen overnight. Look how long it took just even for the servant to bring Rivka back. How long it took for her not to get until she got pregnant. Years and years. And one of the things that I had learned when I was a Christian and no longer am, thank goodness, it's not that it's a terrible thing, but it just doesn't put the Torah in the right place. One of the things that they said, as soon as you come to believe in Jesus, now you're a new creature. All things have passed away and all things are new. And it's not true. Things take time. And we're constantly trying to prove to our family that we're different. So we talk about it instead of just being it. If our words don't match our actions, they don't mean anything to our children. My father would say to us, don't do what I do, do what I say. He was trying to show us that he had done the wrong things in his life and that we were to listen to him. But because he continued to do some wrong things, it was too easy to follow what he did instead of what he said. And that's what we have to learn in our life, that the balance, and the one who talked a lot about this, believe it or not, was Philo, the Jewish philosopher from Egypt. He spoke a lot about being becoming what we say. Don't talk about it, live it. And then over time, your children see that behavior in you, and they know that you are a new person. You are a different person. I'm talking about now older children. You have a good basis, a foundation for you, Mauricio, because you were able to bring this from when your children are young. But when you have older children who have seen you go through major changes in your life and remember from the past and don't let that go, this is where the difficulties come in. It takes time to change. So that I found very important, and that's those special characteristics that Rivka had. You spoke about last week about Chesed, caring for others, and yet she had a free spirit. She has initiative, which is very much like me. You know, you don't have to tell me what to do. I go ahead and I'm looking for things to do. But at the same time, you have to learn to take care of others. And that's really important. That was a really important quality in her. The other thing he talked about was that's so important is that no superheroes. And we have to remind ourselves of that one. We're so hard on ourselves. Each one of our forefathers made big mistakes. And you learn more from our mistakes. And during the process of learning the Torah, there's this self examination and how important it is for us to have a catharsis, to be able to talk to people who are close to us, to be able to let those things go that we're holding on to from the past. You know, because we all have some addictions, addicted to a characteristic, addicted to our iPhones, addicted to something, addicted to chocolate, addicted to something. And we have to learn that things, once we understand that, then it's a process. It takes time. And that's what helps us change. So this message was a beautiful one from our rabbi. Miriam, do you have?
I think
Yes,
you both pretty.
Sorry, go ahead, Mauricio. Sorry, 1 second, Miriam.
it's just one second. The meaning of the wells is esek, which means fighting. Okay,
Struggling. Yes.
okay. Sidna is accusate,
Use.
to accuse, yes, accuse
Yeah.
or hostility. Okay,
Yes.
and the other one is rehobot, which is something that is wide, is ampli amplitude is in Spanish,
Amplified.
amplified, yeah,
Bigger.
amplified,
Yes. We had room.
bigger, yes. So that is that the process is interesting because it's between conflict, hostility, and then amplitude. Okay, so uh, when that is something that honestly for me was very interesting to learn. Okay, because the to have water at the desert is something that means life.
Right.
Okay, life, stability, that you have the opportunity to have flock, to have ways of life, or to have plants, plantation, things like that. Okay, so that is something that happened in because the Philistines were closing every well.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. They cut off their nose to spite their face. They hurt themselves by take. You know what it reminded me of when Ariel Sharon, during he told all the Israelis to get out of that area. They gave back Gaza fully to them. So they took over businesses, plantations, as you say, beautiful vineyards. And what did they do? They burnt them down. Instead of using them, instead of building them up for the benefit of their own people, they stopped up their own wells. That's the mentality of
yes.
these people.
So, and that is something that yeah, that's true, happened or 2020, 2004. And then the point is similar to our lives. Okay, sometimes God has opened opportunities. Okay, the wells in our lives, and there is always people who wants
Yes.
to close them.
Yes.
Okay, always.
Yeah.
In the process is that you start to fight, okay, sometimes. That is something that happen every day. And then you have hostility from that person to bring you fear in your heart. And then what is the best thing to do is to do what Isaac did. What he said, he moved. He
Right.
instead to fight, okay,
Yeah.
I gotta let it go, and then I gotta go to find out another point to dig, to find another well.
Right.
So sometimes that is very important in our lives, okay, to know exactly what battle to fight,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Nehemiah.
so yeah,
Nehemiah had to
that's
go through that. He had everything he needed to build a wall around Jerusalem, and those people came and attacked him. He had to do exactly the same thing, find other ways. Took 2 years.
in the point is that what Isaac did is to reopen the well.
Right.
Sometimes we don't have, because Abraham had that, I would say that characteristic. He knew where to open the to where to dig. Okay,
Right.
so at the end, um, it's just that we need to open, okay, to open our hearts to God, to open uh,
Right.
uh, to amplitude ourselves, to
Yeah.
forget about what people is doing. They
Right.
are wanted to close. Yeah, okay, close. I'm gonna look for another place. So that is something that I wanted to give, but I
Yes.
couldn't remember the whole the meaning of the names. Okay.
So, yeah. So you need to go now, Mauricio. Okay. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Thank you so much, Azia, always for your input, and we'll have a wonderful week. Sorry, Miriam, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
Mauricio
I
told
think
me Mauricio had told me that he has to go and take his.
right, right. No, I mean it's so rich what you both said, and I wanted to bring up some of those points, so it's been already said. Just basically, it always boils down to trust.
Yes.
And even that, Rivka doesn't trust that Jacob is going to be the one who, the lineage is going to go through him uh, about Israel. So things in our lives too, sometimes we try and jump the gun. I'm even thinking of my brother who's not well, but I'm seeing incremental improvements, laughing. I don't know, maybe it's 10 years since or more than anyway, things
Wow.
don't go at our speed all the time. And I really have hope and belief in the healing of him. Listen,
Yeah.
I could be wrong and it may not go in the way I want, but things take time.
Yes.
And we can't impose our speed or our on any of these things, and that's really important, even with ourselves.
Yes.
Things take time. I
Uh,
see myself sometimes doing some of the things that I've done for years that I get so focused on that I've got to stop. And it takes time because it rears its ugly head again.
yeah.
And I cannot batter myself. Like I get too tough on myself. And it's really, we have to dig deep in the wells, but we can't be so hard on ourselves. I'm very hard on myself.
Yeah. And because what that does, it stops up your well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we need to take that quiet time. I love that story about how God wasn't in the thunder and he wasn't in the lightning and he wasn't in the noise. He's in the quiet.
Yeah, I don't do that enough.
And we tend to need a lot of noise around us, whereas it's in the quiet of our, we can hear what he's trying to speak to us. He does. He speaks to us in our minds. He speaks to us through an instinct or something that will show us what we need to, let go of. And it's very important to constantly be asking ourselves the questions that our forefathers have asked each other, so that we can, that word catharsis that Rabbi spoke about. Catharsis is so important. You know, I asked someone a question who had wanted to commit suicide. And I said to him, "Did you ever stop to think?" Because immediately what happened was they put him on pills so that he could no longer think. And I said, "Did you ever stop to think why you wanted to commit suicide? What was going on inside you? Because that's where you're going to be able to start the healing. Because the world doesn't isn't looking for your healing, they're looking to push pills on you. So what you
Yeah.
need to do is to start asking yourself those questions and speaking to the people who care about you enough to help you get through that catharsis.
Just the one comment, like so many things have been misinterpreted, even what I think you said about in Christianity, where God said you're, how did you say, a new creature or something?
Yeah, well, what they said was you're a new creature in Christ.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say about that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wrestle with what that means. I always wrestled with what it means. And the fact is, we are a new creature when we come to God. That doesn't mean we're not. I'm Miriam, like that's why I always say this. But the one verse that I like the way it sounds, very poetic in the book of Yochanan, when it says, "You have been translated from the kingdom of darkness into the kingdom of light," doesn't mean that I am suddenly a sinless person. And some Christians misinterpret that. It means it's taken my whole being out of the darkness into light, which is the truth. Doesn't mean that I'm not a sinner anymore. And I think a lot of Christians misinterpreted that because we are new creations. When we walk with God, we are walking with God. When you're walking in darkness, it's a whole different thing. Doesn't mean that I am God or that I don't have sin. I found that absolutely beautiful. That one verse, it sounds almost like Lord of the Rings to me.
The funny thing is now I hear what you're saying, but I'm not sure I see it the same way anymore
Okay.
because I see that God was always walking with me.
Okay, no, okay, let's put it this way. It's
There,
not,
just
no, I don't mean suddenly you have
that
God, don't have,
circumcision of the our eyes have been open and our hearts have been open. Still the same person.
no, but that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Maybe in a different way. I don't mean that sudden,
Whatever way works for us to look.
yeah, I don't mean that God is with us from this even before we were born.
Yeah.
But what I mean is our lives, think of your life before you recognized God in your life and before you started wanting to live that way. In a way, God, anyway, for me, that works. It doesn't mean that I didn't have God with me, but it's like you've been taken out of a dark room in your own head, maybe. So even though it's still, we still wrestle with things,
Right.
but to me, it's a whole different paradigm.
Yeah. It's all about how we see things now
Yeah.
that we just couldn't see before. I remember when I was fully in the new age, I used to think, I wish the veil would just open so I could see, into the spiritual realm and understand that it's much bigger than here, but I had no idea what I was really meaning or talking about because uh, you know, now absolutely every single thing I go through, it's like that. What Rabbi talked about was the upward spiral,
Mhm.
where we're going to make the same mistakes, just like we see, these things are repeated in the Torah, which, Abraham went to Abimelech, Isaac went to Abimelech, Abraham went to Egypt, Jacob went down to Egypt. It's like these things keep getting repeated, and yet at each time we're at a higher level. We take two steps forward and only one step back. So each time, like, because sometimes I'll say, "Wow, I handled that so much different than I did before." I could just see the change in me.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is that the others who don't see change in themselves cannot see the change. And then when I try to tell them, it looks like I'm trying to prove myself to them. And I realized this week, I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I don't have to, I just have to live differently, be,
Right.
and in time, they will see.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. So, but as he says, we don't live with a fast food God. He changes us in increments.
Right.
And the same way he changes us, he's changing the whole world. You know, right now we're on a spiral. Right now it seems to be a spiral downward, and yet is it a spiral downward? We're watching things that are making us fearful and anxious. And the only way that we're going to drown in that is if we don't see it from God's perspective. The world has to lessen so that God can increase. And the lessening, is painful for those of us who are holding on to the past, holding on to what we think is the right way. But it's actually it's like North America, the Western way has to fall in order for God's kingdom to take over. There's no other way that it can. So we're watching the fall of another great empire. It's in a process, and we become frightened because we're afraid of what we're going to lose. And yet God will dig us a well somewhere else. So,
Mm.
I mean, we just have to learn everything is about trusting him.
Yeah.
Have to learn to trust in each moment and get happy. Rejoice in all that. It's so
But even God could only give us that. Learning to trust is asking God constantly to open up our hearts to that.
yeah,
Because whatever like is in me personally that still blocks me, like I still feel something is blocking my whatever journey a little bit. But I mean that's partly it's still going up the spiral. But
exactly.
there's still a lot of fear and stuff like that. But that takes time.
Yeah. And it depends also on the character that we have. Jacob was a more fearful man. You could see
Yeah.
we read it, even after he wrestled the angel. I mean, he ran away from his brother from these coming stories. So you're in good company. You know, we I love that. We're just and our roles are different. God
Right,
gave you the
right.
character that he gave you. See, you have that opposite in character. In every area, you have complete opposite.
Yeah.
Two horses that go in opposite directions. But if you can tame the wild horses, then they don't pull as hard and they come
Yeah.
more into balance.
Right.
And you have the gift of being able to see both sides of a story. Whereas someone like me, it takes me time to see both sides. And very often I'll jump into situations because I don't see the other side.
Mm.
So you have that gift. And
Well, also, I could understand like people like my brother who are on the journey. I understand very much. I mean, I could understand it because of my own experience.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes um, m- our backgrounds, like Rivka was very affected by her background. She
Right.
was raised in a world of deceit, of lies, of people never communicating the truth, of either weak men like her father or like her brother, a crooked, perverse guy. So she had no role model.
Right.
And here, that's why God needed to take her away from all that. And yet, look how she died because of deceit.
Right.
So it's very difficult, to get rid of all that. It really takes a lifetime, and hopefully we'll be able to do that in ours. So let me just, I'm on a speaker view, so let me go to the gallery view, see who else is here. Um, all right, well, I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Next,
Shalom.
have a wonderful rest of your day on Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom. We
shalom.
love
Shalom,
you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Shabbat
Bye,
shalom.
Alejandro.
Sarai. Bye, Isabelita.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye,
Cuídate.
Miriam.
Bye bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye,
Peggy.
Shalom,
Miriam,
shalom.
Peggy,
Love you.
Janet. Un abrazo.
Abrazo.
Gracias.